Hello, friends, and welcome to Talking with Famous People. I'm your host, Eric, and today I'll be discussing what can only be described as an attempt to use deception, misinformation, misrepresentation to harm Talking with Famous People, an explicit attempt to do that. And it is by a woman named Michelle Schacht. If you were unfamiliar with her and my history, I will go over that briefly. And I will probably do so by beginning to read a specific comment. Let me pull it up here so everyone can see it. Okay. Bring it up here. And then, okay. I'm going to crop this bottom part off of it. So, here's the comment. I will read it out loud. Oh, thanks, Winston's Mom. I appreciate it. This is what Michelle Schacht had to say in her comment today that I read. This channel, my channel, is in violation of 17 U.S. Code 1201 with intent to profit from copyright infringement and DMCA abuse. Okay. Now, this is a claim she's made about me before, a defamatory claim that I've responded to on point, that if this were a channel that was intended to profit from copyright infringement and DMCA abuse, then I'd have lots of content that wasn't of my own making, right? I'd have lots of other people's content that I was trying to profit from. The scam involves his Internet Archives channel. I have no such Internet Archives channel. Broadcasting unlicensed content on YouTube for profit from piracy. That's not my channel. I first reported this user in a DMCA takedown notice filed on February 9th, 2021 for his video found at Sharp full album whereabouts with the description, "Boy, is this a difficult album to listen to online, but I found it where? Here." I filed 256 DMCA notices for unlicensed uploads of my copyright protected work streaming on Internet Archive's pirate site. After I reported the illegal content, this scammer deployed cyber abuse in hopes of generating further content opportunity thanks to YT red flag knowledge of this reported scam. Well, look, my point was this. As I said in the original video, she probably didn't even listen to it, right? What I said in the original video was what was true. I just remembered this lady I used to listen to a long time ago, Michelle Schacht, and I decided, I'd like to listen to that again. It's been a long time since I've listened to that. And I discovered that it was really difficult to find anywhere online. But I don't like being cock-blocked in that fashion, I guess. So I went to the Wayback Machine, it used to be called the Internet Archive, and I did find some clips of it. Now, here's the thing. As soon as that video got pulled for copyright violation, I was unable to see it anymore. So I have to assume the worst, which is that I did in fact have a snippet of one of her songs in there, which is the worst that could possibly be. It wasn't a long snippet, but it was a snippet, I guess. Was I trying to profit off of her copyrighted material by pointing people to where they could find it? No. I was trying to make people more able to find it. Now, it backfired because what did she do? She filed 256 DMCA notices for unlicensed uploads of her copyrighted protected work on the Archive's pirate site. But she calls it my Internet Archives channel. That has nothing to do with me at all. The Internet Archive has nothing to do with me. It just happens to be where I found, after plenty of looking, some where I could hear Michelle Shock's music. And I thought, I bet other people on YouTube are Googling for this and unable to find it and being fooled by these things that have like fake titles that aren't really Michelle Shocked, or somebody covering a song maybe, or some kind of live footage, or I don't know, something that's not really her, right? I thought, well, let me make a video that says, hey, if you're searching for Michelle Shocked, here's the reality about it. You can't, it was informative. You can't find it. Here's why you can't find it. Here's where you can find it, however, if you want to be tricky, etc. Right? So that was the point of that video. Did I monetize that video? I don't remember. And I can't tell because as soon as it's taken down, it's gone. Maybe I did. Probably, I guess, out of habit. So if you want to say, oh, well, he has intent to profit from copyright infringement. Okay, well, the problem here is this. She's accusing my channel of being a violation because it's a channel that displays an ongoing intent for copyright infringement. Except you actually look at my channel, I've got 6,000 plus videos, and none of them, almost none of them, have anybody's content in it but my own. So it's just not the case. The thing that she got copyright taken down was 99% me and a teeny fraction her, right? A teeny fraction of one of her songs. So the idea that I was trying to profit off of her content is insane. And yes, I did put that. Boy, this is a difficult album to listen to online, but I found it. Where? Here. I'm allowed to inform people that you can still find that music there. That doesn't mean I'm trying to form some sort of conspiracy with the Internet Archive to profit off of her copyrighted material. But most of all, what this woman does not seem to understand is that you need standing. You need actual standing. So if she were going to successfully either sue me or get some sort of criminal prosecution of me under federal law, she'd need to show their standing. For civil prosecution, she'd need to show that she had incurred some harm or that I had gained some profit at least from that video. Since it was down almost immediately, and even videos that are up a long time for me maybe make like 10 cents, she's not going to have any kind of standing there. If she wanted to get the feds involved on the grounds that this is what they're trying to prevent, which is an ongoing attempt to profit from copyright infringement and DMCA abuse, this channel doesn't meet those criteria. It's obviously not that. So by portraying it as such, of course, she's defaming me. And then this is the key thing, though, here. After I reported the illegal content, this scammer deployed cyber abuse in hopes of generating further content opportunity. Okay, so no, Michelle Shocked. I did not deploy cyber abuse. I addressed what you had done. I pointed out that you had multiple choices of things to do besides copyright striking me, including claiming all the money from that video. But you chose to copyright strike me. You could have just chosen to remove the video but not strike me. You could have chosen to force me to excise the section of the video that included your song. But instead, you didn't do that. You chose to copyright strike me. And in no way was my response cyber abuse. It was a legitimate discursive response to your action. So you say, I deployed cyber abuse. That's defamatory. Not true. I was responding in a civil fashion to your choice. Disagreeing with you is okay. It's okay for me to disagree with you. It's okay for me to point out where you're wrong. Note, every other video I've made about you has been initiated by your comment, not by me. In other words, after I make this video and explain once again how you're not going to get away with your manufactured bullying campaign, you're not going to intimidate me at all with your idle threats and your poor understanding of the law, and that I will, in fact, scold you for your bad behavior. Defaming others is bad. You deserve to be scolded for that. It's okay for me to scold you for that. If you want to be another civil human being like me, you're welcome to come have an actual conversation with me about this. I'd be happy to interview you about this. You could voice all of your perspectives. Right? So it's kind of important then that if you're going to go around swinging a legal stick, that you not hit yourself with it. By publicly defaming me in this fashion, Michelle Shocked, I'm not libelous at all. You know, it's like nothing I've said about you has been untrue at all. Or, you know, it's all, I'm just quoting you, what you're saying about me, right? But fortunately for you, I'm not litigious either. So I'm not interested in threatening you with lawsuits or actually suing you or anything like that. But understand that you are opening yourself up to those kind of threats. That, in fact, if you persist in defaming, impugning, maligning, and other sort of behaviors that you've engaged in, that, in fact, I could, in fact, make a very strong case. It's all public record. And these are known to be public comments. You are stating in a public space for everyone to see defamatory comments about me, damaging my reputation, presumably. So note that if you are swinging a legal stick, know the legal stick well enough to not hit yourself with it. Because so far that's all you've done. You've hit yourself multiple times with it. If I were inclined to file a defamation case, the jury would only be out 5 minutes. It's pretty clear cut. Who's defaming whom and who's being abusive. You're absolutely abusing YouTube's system in an attempt to get me a strike for bullying, regardless of my actual behavior. As far as I can tell, you've never watched any of the videos that you are claiming provide evidence for you, or if you have watched them, you've ignored their actual content in order to continue to make your position stated. I mean, I look, the thing is, I am not looking, my whole point in life is to be above reproach. And I regret that I wasn't above reproach in this instance in the initial outlay of it. I have to assume, since I couldn't actually listen to it and check, that in fact I accidentally did include a small portion of one of her songs, like when the page was loading or something. That was not my intent. My intent was to direct people to where they could listen to her music. Note, people go, well, she might refer to that as stealing her music. Of course, in no way, shape, or form was anybody stealing anything. When I listened to a couple of Michelle Shock songs at the Internet Archive, streaming them, I was not stealing anything from Michelle Shocked. Sorry, I just wasn't. I didn't even download a copy of them. So now that she's gotten them taken down from the Internet Archive, she successfully made sure that I will never listen to her again.
Or anyone else.
Or anyone else. Why that's a good thing, I don't know. It seems to me that she's lost the forest for the trees, perhaps. That as an artist, she should want people to listen to her music, rather than want to make it impossible for people to listen to her music, but preserve her copyright. I mean, how much good is your copyright doing you? Is anybody paying you to use your music for anything? At least if it's out there and popular, maybe a commercial will pay you to use your song in their commercial or something. You say, well, that's what you were trying to do, Eric, without paying me. I was not trying to do that. And any reasonable assessment of things reveals that, you know? I was trying to point people to where they could listen to Michelle Shock, because I used to like listening to her, and I used to think she was good, and I had trouble finding it, and I bet you might too. It's weird. Yeah, who buys music? You make money on music by getting a lot of views and shit, you know? So it's like the people, like, there's some artists that, as far as I know, they don't really play on the radio, but that are definitely on Rachel and my playlist, like Saint Motel or Tesla Violet. I don't know if those have crossed over to the radio or not, but
I don't know either.
I suspect that a fair amount of things on our YouTube list include just YouTube artists that don't really, you know, that's their primary medium for distributing their music. Certainly, that's my primary medium for distributing my music, and I get that it's not perfect. it would be it if you only care about the musicians and don't care at all about the music consumers. The ideal world would be like it used to be, where if you wanted to listen to one good song that somebody made, you had to buy their whole album and own an object and so forth. You know, that would be great if only people who mattered were the musicians themselves, and it was more than a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of the musicians who made any money. At least now, people like me can make a little money, right? I can make a little bit of money on YouTube on music. Maybe not much, but $1 or something. Whereas prior to the internet, I couldn't make anything. Michelle Shocked is freaking out because she can't get rich off being a famous rock person anymore in exactly the way she wants to. It's just so it's so lacking in awareness, you know. It displays almost a willful and stubborn decision to be unaware. Hi, Ike. OGM Ian. OGM Ian. Of course, her hope is that she's going to successfully provoke and or fabricate a bullying case against me. But I mean, that sort of behavior comprises just straight up malfeasance. She knows full well that I'm not guilty of what she's accusing me of doing and being. And yet she makes those accusations anyway. Type into Google Wayback Machine. That's what it used to be called. But it certainly isn't my site. Well, okay, so here's what regarding the legal matters here, she would be right if I were in fact if she could establish that in fact I had intended to profit from copyright infringement and DMCA abuse. I absolutely did not intend to profit from copyright infringement and DMCA abuse. As I've said from the get-go, I don't even know for sure if there's a section of that video that had a chunk of her song in it or not. I'm assuming it must have, but it was an accidental inclusion anyway. And the point of the code is when it's talking about channels, when it says intent to profit from copyright infringement and DMCA abuse, if you're talking about the channel, there would need to be a pattern of such. In other words, there are channels out there whose intent is to profit from copyright infringement and DMCA abuse. I know this because anytime you Google Host Eric or anything like that, you'll see my YouTube videos, not only here on YouTube, but on these sort of weird mirror sites all over the place that attempt to, reposition YouTube's content and profit off of it themselves instead of YouTube, meaning excising the creator from the profiting process as well. So there's no doubt that people do that. There's also no doubt that I didn't do that. She further says here that this scam involves my Internet Archives channel. I have no such Internet Archives channel. Nothing I linked to involves me at all. But she tries to attribute it to me as though I were responsible for the Internet Archives behaviors, which I'm not. When in fact, as when she put up the DMCA takedown notice on February 9th, 2021 for my video, it was immediately taken down. It had only been up for a day or two. So if she were trying to argue that she had a civil case, she'd need to have standing by showing that profit existed on my part, or that demonstrable financial harm existed on her part. So the thing is, information isn't a crime. Telling people that that's where people can find her music is not a crime. If that place is committing a crime by making it available, that's their responsibility. As far as I know, they could have gotten her approval. They could be copyright approved of at the Internet Archive, just not anywhere else. How do I know? That's not my job, right? So the idea that I could be held accountable in any way, shape, or form for the copyright violations of which archive.org was, or whatever it was called, internetarchive.org, whatever their problems were, that's not my problem, right? I don't go to a site thinking I'm the one who needs to be responsible to make sure that that site is upholding copyright. That site is responsible for that, not the people who go there. So it's like there's not a single legal leg to stand on here. And if anybody wants to accuse anybody of bullying, if she were dealing with somebody who wasn't more well versed in the law than she is, more, look, Michelle Shocked, lawyers run away from me in terror. I'm a professional debate coach. I understand the law and argumentation better than any layperson ever will as a consequence, and you cannot intimidate me like this. You have to have you'd have to have a real case here to be successful in intimidating me. Who's going to bring this case against me? On what grounds? You might have a case against the Internet Archive, which had that music up presumably for many years, and which provided the vehicle through which many parties could listen to it. The only thing people could listen to of yours on my one video, which is an anomaly among my 6,000, is whatever long second clip it that I accidentally included. So probably what I thought at the time was, oh, well, if, I just won't get any revenue from it. If it's copyright thing, she'll just claim it. No, that's fine. I don't care. Because that frequently happens. Only sometimes do I cut out the thing. Usually if I play a bit of a song in a live stream by accident, sometimes something, I push a link, it launches a tab, it goes, it catches a little bit of the audio. One time I uploaded a video that I had made in Goodwill, and Britney Spears was playing in the background on the speakers in the store, right? So here we go. All of a sudden, we start to see some of the disastrous mess that happens when you take such a dogmatic view of copyright as Michelle Shocked appears to. I'd like to be able to videotape my life in that store, and I'd like to be able to publish it. I believe at one point in that store, I paused and waited for a song to end on the speakers before I started again, because I thought, well, that song is definitely gonna copyright. And in fact, I did have to excerpt some of that video because of the Britney Spears thing, and yet, it wasn't me choosing to put Britney Spears in the video. It was an unavoidable consequence of being where I was. Now, okay, I accept my responsibility to wait until those songs are over or film someplace else. Okay, fine. Or deal with it in the audio later. Okay, fine. And I accept that I made a mistake here in this instance by including some small snippet of one of your copyrighted songs. And that's my bad. Fortunately, you incurred no harms and I incurred no benefits, so there's no standing for any further action. And I want to give her more credit than maybe some people in the chat are giving her. I don't think her music's mediocre. I don't think she's a genius or anything, but when at the time, for its time period, I was quite taken with it. I thought, this is really good, really authentic in certain ways, and really, really pleasingly lean in certain ways. Her first album she recorded around a campfire on a Sony Walkman, and the sound recording of the album's not that great, I guess, as a consequence. And you can kind of hear it speeding up and slowing down because it's an old Sony cassette tape Walkman. Oh, she did have a homophobic controversy, and see, this is the other thing. This is what it looks like when you're not bullying somebody, but are engaged in actual adult discourse. My position on that is she should not have incurred that huge controversy over being homophobic or saying homophobic things or whatever. And that the reason she should not have incurred it is because everybody has stupid ideas that they believe in. And to the extent that they're irrelevant to their job and or other things, we shouldn't condemn them for their stupid ideas, because then we'd have to condemn everybody all the time. The problem here is what we should probably condemn her for then is speaking those stupid ideas out loud in an inappropriate context. Like, you could be as racist as you want, but don't say racist shit at work, right?
Yeah.
You could be as whatever as you want, but don't say it at work. So that's fair. Whether or not she is homophobic is irrelevant. That's the wrong question, right? Was it an appropriate context to voice opinions about homosexuality of any variety? And the answer is no. She's there to perform her songs and entertain a crowd with her music. So that's something worth critiquing. She's presumed a lot about the time that her audience has afforded her. If she's presuming that it's a good idea for her to lecture them about something, that's not what they paid for. When I type somebody, my job is to type them. It is to ask them questions, listen to their answers, and interpret those answers. It's not to sit there and tell them about myself. And sometimes I catch myself well, look, it doesn't matter why she's homophobic or whether she's religious or whether she's homophobic even. Point is, those things are irrelevant to her music. However, they're not irrelevant to her performance. Like, it was like exactly. They didn't pay for her opinion. They paid for her music. They didn't pay for a little speech about whatever. And that's the case with all musicians and such. Get up there and do your job. You're not there to talk about politics. You're not there to try to impose your worldview on everybody, because people who have horrible, wrong worldviews sometimes make great music, and those two things are completely separate, and we shouldn't mush them together. So that's part of why I wanted to. That's part of what I want to talk about here. I'm glad you brought it up because I had forgotten about it. But cognitive function wise, what is this thing that Michelle Schacht put here? What does this tell us? What does this tell us about our cognitive function stack, if anything? Well, number one, it's she's one of a great number of people. This doesn't distinguish her very much, but she's one of a great number of people who are willing to, who like to state interpretive aspects of things alongside facts with the same degree of factual certainty in their statement, right? So if you look at the first one, this channel is in violation of 17 U.S. Code 1201 with intent to profit from copyright infringement and DMCA abuse. Okay, that's her claim. Okay, so what she doesn't understand is by saying the scam involves his Internet Archives channel. she's defined the scope of my purportedly criminal or at least civilly liable behavior as a scam. Now, right off the bat, she's undermined herself because if it's a scam, there's some intent to defraud, intent to profit off of something illegally, and it's something that I'm running repeatedly, presumably, to garner profit. But any actual assessment of my channel, what I say, what my content is, or anything like that, belies this notion immediately. There's no scam going on here. This guy is not. There's nothing scammy about talking with famous people. If there, you can critique it in shit tons of different ways, but it is the last channel that you would call scammy. Okay. Then she says it involves mine, Internet Archives channel, broadcasting unlicensed content on YouTube for profit from piracy. Now, it's not mine. And I think what she's done here is she's just decided that that's part of the interpretive range of things. That because I was talking about the Internet Archives channel, which isn't even a channel, but is instead a website, a database, that it's part of my scam or something, right? But she's just putting words together in hopes that nobody's going to notice that that's factually untrue, right? So in that specific instance, she's provided an interpretation that actually sets a standard that she can't meet. There's no way she could possibly prove this is a scam. The worst she could possibly do is prove that there was a one-off instance of intended malfeasance on my part, even though there's no reason to conclude that was the case, since in any other equivalent case, I've never been copyright struck. I've had other options available, right? So I didn't have reason to believe that this was a likely outcome. Now, she says, I first reported this user in a DMCA takedown notice for the video with the description. Right. And I put that and the link where I linked it to. And then she says, right next to it, I then filed 256 DMCA notices for unlicensed uploads of my copyrighted protected work streaming on Internet Archive's pirate site. Okay, after I reported the illegal content, this scammer deployed cyber abuse in hopes of generating further content opportunity thanks to YT red flag knowledge of this reported scam. Okay, so this last statement, it follows a sentence that's purely factual. I then filed 256 DMCA notices for unlicensed blah, blah. She puts a factual statement about in the description of that video. And she put a factual statement for that about when she reported the takedown notice. She's assuming that people are just going to smush the three things together and conclude that I'm responsible for the 256 DMCA notices. But I have nothing to do with that. No. Nothing at all. In fact, I don't think there's a single other... I know there are other videos on my channel that link to the Internet Archive, but they're all about my old website that I could still find... pieces of there, and it will walk down memory lane for me about my own shit. The only other videos I have on my channel that are about the Internet Archive or involved at all are those. So the idea that I have anything to do with the 256 DMCA notices she filed is insane. There's no linkage there at all. There's no connection. So after I reported the illegal content, the scammer continued deployed cyber abuse. So in this last statement now, she's moved from the factual entirely into a blustery, incredibly difficult to substantiate claim about me bullying her that also claims that I am doing this in hopes of generating further content opportunity. So it's easily disabused by anybody who knows anything about me. So why did I make this video now about Michelle Shocked? Because she said these wrong, defamatory things about me and made me upset, and I responded to it, right? As I always do. Any survey of my channel will reveal, in fact, that any interpretation of my videos about Michelle Shocked being me greedily grabbing at what's so hard for me to come by, opportunities to generate further content, is completely delusional. So the idea that I've also deployed, she says, but she means employed cyber abuse. Like if I were deploying cyber abuse, it would be some sort of force that I sent off on a mission, you know. I'm employing cyber abuse, but she cites no examples of cyber abuse. My talking about her and responding to what she says, civilly and factually in this fashion, purportedly, is what she's referring to as cyber abuse. I don't think that's going to work, Michelle Shocked, because, well, fortunately, people who are relatively intelligent are going to see right through this. And even if they're not, people who have a disinterested calculus, when they hear both sides, are going to clearly side with me on the point. You'd have to have somebody as fully immersed in the subjective interested calculus as you clearly are to believe that you have the upper hand here with your legal threats. In fact, your wanton use of totally illegitimate legal threats and your playing fast and loose with fact versus interpretation, truth versus lie, has created and is continuing to create, as you continue to push back against what I hope will be the final comment in this matter, you dig yourself a deeper hole. You don't want to hand me a bunch of ammunition that's called bullets to use in a defamation case. These are metaphorical, of course, you know. Not because I'm going to sue you. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not litigious. I don't go around making legal threats like this. I feel kind of dirty when I do. Because the fact is, here's the thing about legal threats. For people who aren't like me, just sort of using legalese of this sort of fashion can have a dramatic impact and scare the bejeebies out of them. But, you know, Michelle Shocked has used this this move that she's developed against a lot of people, probably very successfully, and then she tried to use it on me,
Right.
and that's never, ever, ever gonna work. I laugh at your threat. It's absurd, insane, or delusional, or more likely just representative of a heuristic you used that works to bully people. Who's actually in the habit of bullying people? Is it me? Absolutely not. This is what bullying people looks like. Your comment here. It doesn't successfully bully me. You can't bully me. But it does provide good evidence that you bully people. Most people are bullyable via this. So take this to heart. You're never going to watch it, but maybe someday you'll have a moment of reckoning where you decide to be objective about the self, and you choose to watch this, and it will explain everything you need to know about yourself. What you're doing is not cool. You should knock it off. Note how much more reasonable and civil this is than you've probably encountered before about your political beliefs regarding homosexuality. I don't care what your beliefs are regarding homosexuality. I don't care what your beliefs are regarding copyright. I afford you the legitimate status of claiming your own copyright, enforcing it as you did against me. I respect the punishment that I received accordingly from YouTube. I acknowledge that I earned that punishment. I served my time. It's expired now. So there's no further remedy for you regarding my own bad actions. Those have been resolved. That question's been resolved. For you now to attempt to expand from what was an anomalous one-time incident to create a pattern of bad behavior on my part, and then expand from there to create a new pattern of a different kind of bad behavior, totally from fabricated nonsense, namely that I'm bullying you, represents a genuine form of malfeasance that deserves to be called out. So I hereby call you out on it. You need to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Right now you're being very dishonest and it's not cool. And we can talk about whatever else now if you want. That'll be fun, Oliver. I was going to put something totally else as the topic here, but then then I saw this unpleasantness. So this unpleasantness befouling my comment stream, and I said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Yeah, I got a copyright strike, and it expired in like 60 days or something." But the point is that YouTube's interpreting things the way the courts have phrased it, and also the way that one ought to interpret it, which is people who have a pattern, a scam of sorts, or their idea is I will repurpose other people's content and make money off of it without having to make anything myself. That is deserving of being shut down by YouTube because it's just trying to be a parasite on real work, right? And so it makes sense that you'd have, if you get frequent enough copyright strikes like that, well, that's a good indicator that you are such a channel. You are that sort of channel. But on the other hand, simply getting one of those is not an indicator of anything of the sort. And to try to pretend that my having gotten one copyright strike for a small section of a Michelle Shock song that accidentally played in a video where I was trying to tell people, oh, here's where you can find her music online, that I am responsible, therefore, for the copyright infringement profits gained by Internet Archive is a leap over the Grand Canyon. It's impossible to make conceptually, certainly impossible to make as a case in court. It doesn't threaten me at all. So I will continue responding to your comments. And no matter how many videos I make in response to them, I will never bully you. And yet you no doubt will feel somewhat condescended to because the things I'm saying are so patently true and so worthy of your genuine attention that no reasonable adult would critique me for making these points. So, it's interesting because I don't want this exchange between Michelle Shock and me to be zero sum necessarily. It's like I'm not trying to crush her or whatever, as she's trying to crush me. But I would love to have a conversation with her and say, hey, it's okay. You got railroaded before. I get it. And those feelings run deep. Those hurt feelings run deep. But I want to welcome you back to the world of civil people. If you'd like to be willing to come back, I can help. Right now, I don't know what it must be like to live with such constant anger and sort of effort towards spiteful ends. Like, she would be extremely gratified if she could convince YouTube or the federal government to take down my YouTube channel. I'm sure it would give her a great deal of satisfaction. But I mean, I wouldn't want to live like that, right?
No.
It's not a very healthy form of emotional juice. So, and I'm a Christian too. And she self-identifies as a Christian, I guess. Apparently, I This is something I've only heard third hand. I don't know exactly, but I self-identify as a Christian too. I wonder how she feels now that she's a search term generating monetized views. I mean, the thing is, this is the thing. She's trying to prevent natural consequences from occurring, right? It's like she tries to hide her music. Natural consequence. Joe finds it in a dark corner of the internet. Hey, everybody, it's over here. That's the natural consequence. Of course, Joe, that's me in this case, ignored the natural consequence of that. She's going to shut down that one source of her music, which she did. So thanks, Eric, for killing it for everybody, right? For the people who knew about that secret watering hole and were enjoying listening to it, they're probably all pissed at me. The weird thing is, she's absolutely within her rights to enforce her copyright, but I mean, it just seems so much to me like she's missing the forest for the trees, right? That I'm not her enemy because I mean the bottom line is because I just don't give a fuck that much. You know, it's like I don't need to hear her music that bad. It doesn't matter. I find her more interesting than I find her threatening because she's she's fighting against something that's way beyond putting back in the bottle. You know, it has a tragic element to it. Like she's basically fighting the world to return to 1992. Oh, I mean, that's not gonna work. You know, it's
a shame because honestly, when we first listened to it, I was like, "Oh, this is so rad!" Like, and it feels really like 1992, like good music.
yeah.
And I wouldn't have known about it if it weren't for that archive that you found. So I don't understand. Like, I don't think it. Let me see if it's on Spotify.
I don't think it's anywhere that we looked. I think we looked at a number of places.
Yeah, you're right.
So I actually responded to her comment in text here too. I'll put that up as an image so we can see that too.
That's interesting. Okay, so like, she doesn't have her stuff on there, but they have a Michelle Shocked radio. So when it's on shuffle, she allows the song to be heard, but no one can use it on their own playlist or, you know, yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
It's so weird.
She only has 4 monthly listeners. Because no one knows who she is.
Because she's controlled her copyright so successfully, right?
Yep.
So here it is. As indicated, my pointing to your music was an attempt to make a statement about my perspective on your approach to your copyright. As I've said in other videos as follow-ups, I'm not remotely interested in profiting from your copyright. You've ignored all substantive claims I've made, including all claims... I don't know why I repeated that. Indeed, all claims I have made. You've ignored all substantive claims I've made. Indeed, all claims I have made in an attempt to construct a defamatory and artificial narrative about my channel, my character, my purpose, and my behavior. I do understand that you had the stuff taken down from the archive. So you really should thank me for bringing it to your attention, right? I'll make another video in which I rationally explain your malignant and defamatory approach towards engaging me, your ongoing attempt to manufacture a bullying case where there is none, and never will be one, and other related matters. Sorry, Michelle, but when you lie or misrepresent things with the intent to deceive, there are consequences, and you are hereby incurring the natural consequences of your own persistent bad behavior. I don't have to be careful about giving them a platform. Other people do, but not. I don't, because I am kryptonite to narcissists. Narcissists will always run from me or try to snipe from the shadows. Hero Lamb, she's got like 22,000 subs now, which which just blows me away. I do not mean to be insulting about her at all. Heard of Michi, but I have always found her content almost unwatchable. Like as close to unwatchable as you can get without being just torturous, you know. And I haven't watched it recently. Maybe it's gotten a lot better. But when I noticed the other day that she had 22,000 subscribers, I was absolutely stunned. I was like, what? I just couldn't believe it. But maybe she got a lot better. I don't know. It used to be, I found it kind of cringy, you know? Maybe you're not really a narcissist then. Maybe you're just a psychopath. Seal. Everyone's going outside now, watching less internet. Boo. I mean, it's a good thing in general. I'm accustomed to the regular world, not the COVID world. You know, I didn't see a big boost during COVID at all, so no skin off my back. For people who got a big boost of subs and stuff during COVID, I can see how it might be a little worrisome. That didn't happen for me. One of the things I started doing and hope to continue doing is be consistent about having backgrounds and stuff like this and live streaming from the you know, it might make a difference. I get the feeling that there's a lot of sort of stored up potential energy behind talking with famous people that might manifest at some point as a sudden burst or something. But I really don't know. I wouldn't be able to really just justifiably explain why it hasn't happened heretofore. But then that's kind of the nature of YouTube as well. Sometimes small changes can make a big difference. How is it simping to acknowledge someone is cute, in your opinion? It's not simping to acknowledge someone's cute. Quite to the contrary, it's often the first step in putting the bone to the moan, as they say. I've seen Butthurt. Oh, maybe I was looking at somebody else's channel. Michelle Wilson? Who's Michelle Wilson?
Brian Wilson's daughter.
Brian Wilson's daughter?
Yeah, I think so. No, Michelle Phillips. I'm thinking.
Oh, that's Wilson Phillips?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm confused.
Yeah, whoever. There's a Wilson. Carly Wilson, I think.
Michelle Shocked. The problem with Michelle Shocked had was, which is kind of funny, from what I can tell, I'm no expert on the situation, but prior to her purported rant that got her in trouble with the LBGT whatever community, was that she had a very masculine look about her in terms of her haircut and her clothes and stuff. And so I think she had a large following of listeners who assumed that she was a lesbian.
Yeah.
And I think when she went to a show in San Francisco and there were all these gays and lesbians there, supporting her as one of their own, that she kind of freaked out. Because it kind of drove home just what a poor choice she was making in terms of general aesthetic. If she wanted to convey, yeah, it wasn't working, and instead of blaming her own poor aesthetics and failure to anticipate that that's going to be interpreted that way, she lashed out at the people who interpreted her that way. So I don't. I don't think it's appropriate in general to critique people by their physical appearance. Okay, everybody, settle down in the chat there. It looks like we've got some not quite civil discourse going on. Hero Lamb. Social justice warrior equals instant limp penis?
TMI.
So if you're in the middle of a full-fledged humpage, and she goes, capitalism is evil, do you just immediately go, okay, that's it, I'm done? You just pull out and walk away without a word. You just put on your pants, walk out. What did I say? You just shake your head and walk away. Well, I don't know if anybody recalls. I think I mentioned it on a live stream the other night, or maybe I was just telling Rachel about it. But I dated one time, went on one date with an ENFP woman, and I took her to this like kind of boutique-y farm-to-table restaurant in Glendale, and she was like a librarian at UCLA, and we sat down, and we were having an argument, getting slightly heated argument, before our drinks got served to us about capitalism. Because, of course, she started in with kind of this leftist meow about capitalism, completely just oblivious to the hypocrisy, right? Here I am. At the time, I was running autonomy debates, so I was like, I literally was operating a corporation. But regardless, it was a small business that the enterprise of which was going to pay for this dinner that she and I were going to eat, right? And she's obviously accustomed to this kind of shit because she's a librarian at UCLA and, you know, of probably upper middle class background. So she starts on capitalism, and it's just like the appalling lack of self-awareness. It made me insanely mad, like instantly. Like, well, I mean, you know, we're going to be eating dinner at this nice place tonight because the place profits, because I profit so I can pay for it, you know? And you're not understanding. That's not the same thing. Then we sort of, when the drinks came, we sort of both turned to each other and said, let's not do this. And then we spent the rest of the meal cordial, but basically tried to get through it pretty quickly. And I still paid for the meal, and then we parted ways like, pew, as soon as we got out the door. ENTP, ENFP, bad relationship pair. Don't get with the same one of you, but the other T or F. So, like, I think INFJ, INTJ, probably bad pair. I think ESTP, ESFP, bad pair. I think ISTJ, ISFJ, bad pair. All the way down the line. Are you flirting with me, Seal Ripper? Is that why you've got me squeezing my junk with my right hand? Beneath your view. Ew, 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 squeeze, squeeze. Ew, ew. ENTP, ENTP. I think they can be friends if one of them's a girl. There's not really any sexual attraction between the two of them. I know from personal experience, and it just makes sense. It's like, a male wants to put who he is into the right shaped metaphysical whole. Who I am is NETI. NETI is not a hole that who I am fits into. It's the opposite of a hole that who I am fits into. It's a plug. So it's like, even if you're a girl, you want to be plugged in an NETI in a way that's like, the plug that fits into NETI is not NETI. It's either, NIFE or maybe SIFE, or it's like the plug has to be the opposite of the hole. Knower plug fits into doer hole. Doer plug fits into knower hole. Deliberator plug fits into interface hole. Interface plug fits into deliberator hole. What kind of hole are you? What kind of hole? What fills you up inside depends on what kind of hole you are. The shape of your hole and the shape of the plug should match up good, just like a rug should fit in a room, or it's the wrong rug. That's a song about the birds and the bees.
I like that term.
So I think what Michelle Schacht is going to probably try to attempt to do is get me to generate a lot of videos about her and claim that comprises a pattern of harassment. What I'm going to continue to say in each video that I'm compelled to make is the last video I made, as far as I knew, was the last word on the subject. If Michelle Schacht genuinely wants me to stop responding to her, she should stop commenting on my YouTube channel. And hopefully the world is sane enough that that's the winning argument. Some people might say, well, Eric, why take a chance? Maybe she's going to successfully trip some algorithmic that says, well, you talk about her too much, therefore you're harassing or bullying her, and ignores everything else. Well, that's possible, but every time I've made an appeal to YouTube before, YouTube's made the correct decision. And I respect that. When humans at YouTube look at my shit, they make the correct decision. So I believe that will happen again. I'm not going to be intimidated by words that don't withstand any scrutiny. And her words don't withstand scrutiny, and therefore I will not be intimidated by them.
You look very handsome.
Thanks, darling. Van Morrison. Did he sing
I think so. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. That's a good song.
And
That's a
Brown
big
Eyed
hit.
Girl.
The do is known as.
Yeah.
Excuse me a minute, I'm eating a chicken tender. That's what I call a brief interlude of mukbang. Hi, Helmy. You have to wait a minute. You arrived during the brief interlude of mukbang. Bite it tenderly. Is that tender enough? Bite me tender, bite me sweet, bite me on my nose. And when you're done there biting so, please bite me on my toes. Bite my kneecaps, bite my bows, by which I mean elbows. Then bite my ears and bite my teeth and bite my beard and jingle bells, jingle bells. Hero Land, let's not go throwing labels around, alright? For criminy's sake. You're just trying to incite. You're inciting rage. You're inciting rage in an already irritated young man. Maxie Kemp says, Eric, you did a video about an INFP who is complaining about that his stomach hurts or something like it has a hold, which I mean, the video. No, but I'm probably referencing well, I don't know if I'm referencing this or not. But here's what comes to mind when you say that. In the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, the son character, the son of Phaedrus, the main character, is, in my opinion, an INFP who has imaginary stomach problems that he uses as an excuse to not SE, basically. That may be what I was talking about. Who's breaking what tie? What kind of tie are you breaking? Are you breaking it with some kind of penalty shots? What kind of tie are you breaking? Are you cutting it off 'cause that kind of restaurant's not this kind of family affair? It's an old style tradition, it's so much fun. Cut off the tie you wear to show this is casual dining, yay! You ever been to one of those restaurants? They have one in Laverne. I never went there with a tie on, but there's a restaurant in Laverne that if you go in wearing a tie, you do so knowing that the waiter is going to come and cut it off because no ties in here, sir. It's like it's like an old joke that doesn't really work anymore, especially around here because every place is like that. But like there isn't any, I can't think of any place that you could go to that requires you to wear a tie in the restaurant.
Not anymore, really.
So like being a good food place that doesn't require a tie isn't really a novelty at all. But they've retained this tradition, and people will go there for like their birthdays with their family, and the kids will be like, "Dad, wear a tie. You have to wear a tie." And then they come around, and they'll cut off the tie, and then they put it on the wall, which has a bunch of ties hanging on the wall. Anybody ever been to that kind of restaurant before? Anybody know about that kind of restaurant? Yeah. I think somebody earlier said I just sound butthurt about it, like you're jealous or something. Um, maybe I honestly was just sort of, I'm just mostly stunned. Like, I don't, I don't, I don't know what to say about it. It's like, I don't think of it as being content that I want to watch, but I appreciate her as a person. I think she's a good person. I am, I, I wish that this weren't my honest critique, and I concede that I haven't watched I haven't watched any of her recent videos really. Maybe she's changed and gotten a lot better, but my reaction to her stuff that I've seen in the past was, genuine, not dishonest at all. authentic, but difficult to watch for me. So, while it may be the case that I I have hurt feelings or jealousy or something, that's not what actually is motivating my commenting on it at this point. It's more just like, wow, I don't know, I don't know what to say, you know, because in some sense it's, as I recall, it had some of the same shortcomings that my videos might have, in that she's an NE dom, you know.
You're my anytime.
Thanks, darling.
You're
Okay, Seal Ripper.
no,
Okay,
what
can
is
we
going
can
on?
we not get Leaf Trimmer? Can we not play Leaf Trimmer in the middle of a battle again? Can we just not play that, please? Yeah, Hero Lamb, I know. That's what he does, dude. It's what he does. You're just gonna have to learn to ignore that shit. He loves to provoke stuff. He doesn't even know that's what he's doing exactly. He's got a chip on his shoulder. And he'll have a chip on his shoulder about me saying this. No, why are you saying this? Because in this particular instance, he started it with Viv. It's like, every fucking time. That's why. Because only one face in all of these battles remains the same. This time it's Hero Lamb you're arguing with. But Hero Lamb frequently is here not arguing with somebody, right? Some other time you might not be Hero Lamb. Might be somebody else you're arguing with. But there's you again, huh? And then when I say, stop! You go, what? It's not me, it's them, because they're... Well, you know what I think about that? No, mister. No, Bob, as they say. We're all very sensitive people, Hero Lamb. Everybody has a sensitive part that they don't want you to kick.
Yes, true.
Everybody is sensitive. Now, for some, their sensitive parts are their testicles. Don't kick me in the testicles, they're sensitive. Which is another way of saying, don't kick me in my SE. It's sensitive. If you kick me in the TE, I'll go, fine, I'll show you. Maybe. Or I'll say, fuck your TE. If you kick me in the NI, and you're right, I'll go, huh. Well, I guess I missed that one. Well, I'm sure I'll get the next one. If you kick me in my FI, I go, you're not kicking my SI properly. If you kick me in the FE, I'll probably be embarrassed and walk away licking my scorecard wounds from having gotten FE smacked down. If you kick me in the TI, I'll correct myself. That's easy enough if you're right. If you kick me in the NE, it just isn't even possible to kick me in the NE. People have tried to. I remember one time somebody accused me of not being creative. I just said, force field and anxiety? Huh. You want to put a link to it, Maxi Camp? I'll unmoderate you after you put a link. One of the best videos I've made recently in a long time in terms of chance to continue to have legs and accrue views over time is the TI Shit Talker video. That's got over 10% thumbs up even after 500 views, which is very difficult for me to accomplish. So I'm encouraged by that video. I suspect the last video I put up, which was about analysts, meta-analysts, whatever, that video won't do nearly as well because it's too dense, you know. You think my best recent video was that Dummies song? Well, in terms of outcomes, it definitely wasn't. Can you put a link to it, Maxi Camp? It's a very beautiful place, Rachel. Come to me, to the verdant wonderland of the Grove. Where are you taking my girlfriend, Marge?
Oh.
You should try to be a little bit more undercover than that.
Can you put
Yeah, sure. Where's the bag of weed? See, it's like Minnie has been the occasion when I wanted to get this, but I had to lean way over there. Yeah, I agree. It's too dense for popular appeal. I made it because it was an old document that I found. I think I probably have made a video from the document before, but I corrected some things I saw that were wrong on it. And I thought, well, it's better that I just make this video and use this document than don't make this video and don't use this document, since the bulk of the work's already done, you know? That was kind of my reasoning behind it. And at the very least, it's a video that, even if it's not very popular because it's dense, it's people can't accuse me of for example, being off the topic they expect, or of talking in ways that don't validate my legitimacy as a typologist or something. So it's kind of like a no-lose video without really very much win either. Meow the meow. And then we're going to meow the meow. Rachel has Venmo. We also accept Venmo.
Yeah. Here, I'll put up my handle. Where's
No, this is not self-growed weed, which drives home the point that Rachel and I really need to go buy some clones.
Yeah, we
And
do.
plant our own weed in the back here, because there's no reason to not benefit from the cost savings of homegrown weed, except that we just haven't gotten around to it. Just weak SE, you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I do have a merchandise store that you could attend, you go to, and look at my merch, get talking with famous people gear, or other cool stuff. Let me bring up the link to it. Okay, here's the link to that. I think I will take down these two pictures now, as I don't really need them up here anymore. And I will put this here. It's fun. I put up some fun designs. Not all of them are going to be huge sellers, but they should all be fun, at least. I agree the last video would appeal most to meta-analysts, probably. I mean, the thing is, it's both an explanation as to why I talk about what I talk about and don't talk about what I don't talk about, why I overdo meow and underdo meow, and it's also a demonstration of it, you know. I'm feeling depressed about the accusations against Trent Reznor. I hate the fact that we can't rely on honesty and accusations. Who's accusing Trent Reznor of what? Should I just Google it? Let's see. News. Courtney Love? Who would listen to her about anything? She accused him of systematic abuse.
Oh, it's Courtney Love, though.
Yeah, I mean, nobody should respect what she says at all. I need to apologize for my recent post. It was insensitive and it was wrong. No matter how I feel, there are real people behind my words, and I need to learn to be more responsible with my words. I am truly sorry for those I've hurt. A 56-year-old wrote, I will do better. But that's not a good enough that's not an apology. She needs to say it was factually untrue and slanderous or libelous.
Yeah.
That's what she needs to admit to.
Yep.
Who is... After Clueless, she secretly found the business really complicated, and some fan mail was pretty creepy too. People ridiculing her weight as Batgirl bothered her. Talking about, that girl was in Clueless. Christian Slater was convicted for... Oh, didn't say her. Well, you had my attention for a second,
Yeah, that could be a site that we could
it.
go to for stuff. I've never been... I don't think of OK.
Oh, let me get that video. Let me see. Copy link address. Put this in the Piao. As per Mia. Put this in the Piao as per Mia. And it's one of my videos, right? So let me put it up here. I'll put it on the screen so everybody can see what we're talking about. Hello friends, host Eric here. I just finished watching We Treat Children Like Vomit. Because of this comment. Eric's completely wrong. Teachers definitely influence their students, especially at young ages. When you know nothing, you question nothing. I didn't say at any point in this video that teachers don't influence their students. Nor did I suggest that was the case. I guess at the end you could say that I was suggesting the teaching credential classes don't influence the teachers to do their bullshit. Because it's a political exercise. It's not the teaching credential classes, I mean, it's not an education class in any meaningful sense. They don't teach you how to do anything. You can't learn to teach except by doing it. So I replied here. I hated grammar in school. How do you determine what is worth knowing? I don't know if grammar is worth knowing or not. I think that it depends on the individual student as to what's worth knowing. Grammar is worth knowing for me. I didn't learn it till I was an adult, though. And I learned by sentence diagramming, which is basically making a case as to why each word in a sentence is a given part of speech. There's some other comments I wanted to react to or respond to. Jason Monachini said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Yeah. And so if I haven't approved these already, go ahead and just approve them. Who knows? Maybe I already did that. Probably already did it. So here's Jason his name is.
This video is so boring.
This guy. He's got 0 subscribers. Must have a
What are we
channel.
watching it for? What is the point of it?
Or it's really
It's coming?
terrible.
Okay,
Let's find
alright.
out.
I love you.
Could be just really, really terrible.
Love you too.
Well, he only has 1 video. Well, that explains it. You're a brand new channel.
Alright, let me speed it up a little bit.
Alright, but I
God,
believe
Eric,
that
you're a
his
terrible
thing is not just
video
spam he
maker.
put on everybody.
No wonder you have no fans.
The fact that it's INFP difficulties, and he put it on various INFP videos of mine. So, let's see what he has to say.
Hi everyone, I'm Jason, and I just want to make a quick video about being an INFP. And yeah, like, I've done a few tests in high school and university, and I keep getting the same answer, which is that I relate with the cognitive functional stack of being an INFP. And yeah, it's kind of funny because when I was younger, even as before finding all this Myers-Briggs personality research, I was also different from people and misunderstood, which is unique. But it's kind of funny because I felt that maybe there was something just so different about me. But after researching these ideas, like sure, everybody's unique, but I think it's FI that makes you feel even more unique, which maybe makes me aware of your uniqueness. So yeah, it's funny to see other people who have that same feeling as I do, but being different. And all that.
FI and SI
so yeah,
combined.
it's all to be INFP, yes.
So
And yeah, like the thing I want to talk about is making decisions and being tasks. And it's just so frustrating for me to be tasks because like my brain, I think the way it's structured is that it always wants to harmonize with things and do things that involve things that link up with my values, my value system, and that require feelings. So I can easily do things like listening to music, researching, just in learning mode, watching documentaries, watching movies, TV shows, reading, writing, drawing, socializing. Even though socializing was hard at first, but then because it involves people, it's like, and people always have feelings, I just feel so harmonized with that activity. But anytime I need to do, and I can easily make decisions if I'm around people, or if it's for a people-oriented decision, or a moral decision, or something that requires creativity, I can easily make those decisions. But if it requires to do a task that is completely like cut out from the human element, like let's say like washing the dishes, or like washing the dishes.
Are you
just,
trying to bore
it's so
me
hard
to
do it. I
death?
can force myself to do it, but the way I describe it to myself is like I have this internal feeling right in front of my chest, and it's like a ball of feeling.
Mission
Right in
accomplished?
front of my heart and my chest. And
What are we waiting for
it has
here?
absorbed or mirrored all these various different values.
What is the point of
different
this?
Value judgments or feeling judgments, and it has created a system inside of right here. And that's in every single, it has analyzed and categorized just through its feeling without any names necessarily.
God, Eric,
Just all these nuanced feelings,
stop
nuanced judgments inside
him.
of it.
You
And that's
suck
what
so
informed me how-
badly
what
as a
good to do,
video
right to do,
maker.
bad to do, wrong to do, what
Your
is good for me,
content's
what doesn't good for me, what I
unwatchable.
should
Look
do,
at this shit.
what people should do, I should not do, what I should do, what I should not do. But even though I have all this knowledge, right, because of my value system, it's hard for me to act on these judgments when it requires me to do tasks. I have no idea why. Like I believe the reason why, I believe that I know.
I'm so
No,
bored
I
I'm
believe that I know
balancing
why.
something on
It's
my
because
nose.
my body wants to just keep doing
In the
things
video
that
we're
are
watching.
but
How boring
I don't
could
know how to
that
fix
be?
it. That's the thing. It's so frustrating because it's not like I don't want to do these things. I so strongly want to do these things, but it's just like for the time being right now, I can't do them. Yeah, and
I'm
I
going to
watched
tell you the
other
answer
videos
here
online,
in a
people
second
describing
there, Jason.
and it's hard for them as NFPs to do it too because they've been saying that it's our inferior function, TE. So I'm like, how do you develop your functions? Or how can I maybe use thinking, like introverted thinking instead of extroverted thinking? Because I feel that my brain has this ball feeling right here, and when I do something creative, like using a creative medium, you can see all my emotions being expressed out like this. It's full of emotions being expressed out. It's all balled up inside right here. But then when I do something creative, like writing or teaching something, I can just express all
You
these feelings.
correctly
Just
typed yourself,
express out.
sir.
And also, yeah, like I just feel like I'm full of emotions inside.
Congratulations.
Deep intense feelings, but they're all balled up in this ball, right? And there's also a compass that tells me which way direction to go. Some of these are not my ideas; they're also ideas and research and resonate with me. But yeah, like I couldn't believe I had this like thing going on with me about wanting to keep harmony all the time, want to keep peace when I'm around people. I always want to keep the peace and harmonize things around me. Like I want people to be harmonized, to be calm, to be even keeled. Yeah, to always have our emotions leveled, you know. And anytime it goes out of this leveling, I want to just bring it back by knowing which feeling hits the other feeling, and then just keep bringing them into this equilibrium. The thing that's difficult regarding tasks about this harmonizing aspect is that, let's say I want to do these business goals that I have, and it requires me to go on this website, get my notebook, write down, watch the first video, write down ideas, implement ideas onto a different website, then watch my video,
my
write down my notebook ideas, and implement
fucking
things
God!
Then I'll do stuff like this. But for some reason, like I know.
That's interesting. So he's talking about a task. He's got the TE part down fine. He doesn't like that part, but he can do it. But it's the SE part that he's stuck on. Now I got to follow through on an already decided course of action. But of course, my tool function is wanting to create newness out of the thing, but my TE force slot is telling me, nope, this is the way to do it. So I know for sure which way I'm going to go. I'm not going to improvise on the way, probably, which means I'm not going to be able to use my tool function at all. So it's incredibly unappealing to me to do something that's already been decided, because whatever feeling I have about it, the feeling I have is related to the decision making process, but is not really related to the it's not really related to the following through process. So yeah, your INFPs, I'll tell you guys have FI dominant and SI third slot. That makes you the most individual of all the types. You've got the most, because FI and SI are where you get your authenticity from in general. So an authentic individual human particularist person is authentic human particularist and unique insofar as they have FI and SI. Everybody has at least some of each one, but you'll notice who's the fakest type. Well, the fakest type is going to be the ENFJ, because they have FI ignored and they've got SI polar. So they're kind of...
Well, Eric, you're saying plenty of wise words,
but they don't have any sense about that. Okay.
It's not later than that, is it? Did I get there yet? Do I have to go further? Okay. If your goal here, Maxi Kemp, was to convince me that you had good judgment about which links to share, you have completely failed to accomplish your mission. That was so boring. I can't believe I ever published that horrible, horrible video. Shame on me. We should all take turns now shaming me for having decided to publish that horrible, horrible video. Why would I publish that? Why would anybody ever want to watch that? It's pure torture. Oh. I see. Sometimes I just get so disgusted with myself.
Don't we all?
Because it's not like, okay, there's a certain amount of random kind of ramblings and so forth, and not focus on the thing as a media product per se in a live stream like this, because I'm engaging with the people who I'm talking to here in the live stream. I'm not going to delete the video. I don't go back and delete videos usually. I don't figure that there's any harm in having bad videos, but maybe that's not true. Okay, Oliver, that's a good idea. Oliver said he's going to save this video, and in a few years I'll send it to me so I can react to my reaction to that video. You feel like he has the same problem. That your stomach hurts? Does your stomach only hurt when you have to do shit? I mean, I'm not complaining about his video. I'm complaining about my video. It's like, I did not need to listen to all of that stuff, right? If I wanted to respond to something he said, I needed to cut out the couple of things he said I wanted to respond to and make a good video. I'm not complaining about his video. I'm complaining about me and my video making and my poor editorial decisions and my decision to publish a video without editing it into a form that people could possibly like. That's what I'm yelling at. I'm not yelling at him at all. I'm yelling at me. Okay? To be very clear about this. His video was what his video was within its own context. I'm saying, from my perspective, if I'm going to respond to something, do a good job of editing. So I do think that INFPs can be hypochondriacs. But I also think ISTJs can be hypochondriacs. ISTJs are hypochondriacs when their FI isn't doing great. When they're sad. Because at that point, they turn to their fourth slot NE to solve them, to save them. And it creates possibilities about their SI. So it's like, you know, I don't feel, my own feelings don't feel like I'm winning here. Like, I'm not spending time with people I love. I'm not, you know, engaging in things that are important to me or whatever FI third slot failure seems like. I'm not getting enough of what I want, I guess. Then they turn to their expert intuition. Well, what are some other possibilities? Well, maybe I have irritable bowel syndrome. Maybe I've got restless leg syndrome. Maybe there's something wrong with me. That's any totally subsumed by an SI frame. That's a good idea, Winston's mom. Winston's mom says, why don't you do a reaction video to people who create typology content and point out what they do correctly? Everyone else pointing out wrongness.
That's a good idea.
That is a good idea. Yeah.
Changing my left picture because it no longer looks like me on there.
So I would also point out that, as could be expected, this stream has transitioned from on topic, which has stayed on topic longer than most, to random topic, and that I'll probably start playing the guitar in not a super long time. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit more about my experience engaging with Corey yesterday over here. So it's a little bit complicated. Like there is some subtextual status battle that is still extant, you know. But I think we're both a lot more comfortable with who we are, less likely to feel threatened. So, in some sense, Corey and I have kind of the opposite situation, which is Corey has a lot of concrete success due to his early investment in crypto, but not really any notoriety or public visibility, I guess. He's not afforded any legitimacy exactly as an expert on anything, I guess. Something like that. I think we both like to have, in addition to what we have, what the other has as well, you know. But I have no problem in general playing a role that I always tried to play for Corey, which is facilitator. I don't need to. I don't mind deferring. Like, I don't generally trust other people's leadership enough to just sort of fall in, right? But as I expressed to Corey yesterday, I would like for him to record his music and stuff. I'd like to facilitate that by, you know, basically just being his engineer producer, which is to say, let him come in with a clear concept of the architecture of something he wants to record, get down, like, say, the bass line, and have that be one day's work. He's concerned about his own capacity to follow through on stuff like this. Well, Winston's mom, this is specific to like matters intuitive, all matters intuitive. So on some grounds, he sees us as both operant in the same field, namely the field of intuitives. But he doesn't know anything about cognitive functions. He doesn't have a lexicon to distinguish between his kind of intuition and alternatives that might also have legitimacy. He has a fairly stark black and white view, but it's an NI black and white view. It's not a TI black and white view. So, and
I think in general, he's a lot less in interested in slash willing to learn from me than the other way around. Still, I think he sees it as inconsistent with the proper framework, which reserves for him a certain kind of status, you know? Nicholas Watson, why did you say that to me? He says, Eric, you are to music as Bette Midler is to music. Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
That's an expression I'd love to hear people say more often, right?
Yeah, me too.
Used to be fairly commonly heard. Everyone, well, you're entitled to your opinion. Ghost pipe tincture? No, I don't. I don't think so. I think it's a little more subtle or complicated than that, Winston's mom. You say he's too aware of all the possibilities and yet unable to take a final action or step that would make or break his ego. I think it's a little more complicated than that. I think, you know, he's been in a difficult relationship for a long time, and my relationship with his wife has always been sort of independent of my relationship with him. She and I were friends before they got together, and we remained friends after. There was never anything between us. Well, I don't think that distinction is a meaningful one between masculine NI and feminine NI. What's interesting, one of the things that was really interesting to see was just how much Corey and Rachel are on the same page about NI matters. So, you know, they had quite a conversation about the occult. I wish I had sort of stayed out of the way longer so they could chat with each other more, and I'd have more stuff to glean from Rachel's experience independent of my own. But I guess I didn't even think about it, and it was interesting, you know? It was interesting.
It was a good hangout.
It was. It was fun. It was good. And it was... It was warmish, you know? It wasn't exactly a warm meetup of old friends. But Rachel noted that we were very comfortable with each other right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any discomfort. Well, thanks, objective personality. Appreciate that. I mean, the distinction I made between the two is that as two INFJs, the two differ in one discrete way. Corey is accustomed to operating with a default of high status affect, and Rachel's accustomed to operating with the default of low status affect. And that doesn't, the thing about the affect is, remember, it's just a strategy in both instances to move through the world with as least, such that it has as low viscosity as possible, right? That it's easy to move through as possible. So
It was just with the Corey thing too. It was interesting because every time that you were talking, he and I were responding like at the same time. Different words. We were seeing different words, but we were both listening at the same time. Like
you're both giving the appropriate social cues with the same timing.
yeah.
Interesting.
And like I said, like looking into his eyes, I was like, oh my gosh, I have never seen anyone else have the same eyes as me, but he does.
Subjective personality. The question of whether or not people who are FE subconscious, whether or not they affect high or low status, I don't think that's really in any dispute. They still affect high or low status. The real question is whether they consciously do so or are aware of how much they incorporate into their conscious willful decision making elements such as affect. Now it doesn't even mean that they're necessarily consciously aware of their own affect in those terms. It just means that they're reading and using in the way that they move through the world information that is hitting on FE grounds. So, for example, if you ask somebody, well, why didn't you go in there? And they say, it looked like there were a lot of very important people in there. Well, how do you know if they're very important or not? The answer would be there's a lot of cues that might indicate they're important. For example, several security guards nearby, armed in suits with their arms crossed in front of them, suggests like drug deal going on behind here or something. Here's the thing, Winston's mom. I have tested this with, or noted anyway, plenty of occasions in the past, that Rachel is not susceptible to yawn contagion. And I suspect Corey's the same. I didn't test it yesterday, but I suspect that yawn contagion links to SI being conscious. So probably SI DOMs or Tool would be the most contagion prone. Seal Ripper. Like, what inspires you to say shit like that? I'm curious.
What?
He says, sounds like Eric was the third wheel.
I know. I'm stunned.
I mean, I wish I had been more, frankly. I would love to see, to just be, I would love to go into a meeting with the intent of sort of hanging back and observing Rachel and Corey interact, because seeing two INFJs interact who have somewhat different affects or different approaches to FE in the world, and how those approaches lead back to the same fundamentals is interesting. I don't feel threatened by other males in general, and I definitely don't feel threatened by Corey. And the reason is, in part, I have been friends with his wife for a long time. We've done plenty of things independently of him, off by ourselves, places, whatever. And nothing ever happened because I'm trustworthy, even if she's not. Same thing with Corey. Nothing would ever happen. Regardless, in this instance, both Rachel and Corey are trustworthy. And thirdly, most importantly, to the extent that I'd be worried about somebody being attractive to Rachel, it wouldn't be another INFJ. It would be some action type. So,
That's laying it all out there.
Yeah.
It's true. But there wouldn't be anything to worry about anyway.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Your frame of reference is one in which you oughtn't afford trust to anybody because of who they are, that their behavior is always indicative potentially of untrustworthiness, that you should keep your untrustworthy person radar up at all times. Nobody ever gets to have it turned off on them. That's just insane. That's not a good way to have relationships or understand the world.
No, being in this relationship has afforded me that, though. It really has.
We're both pretty relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when you say things like that, for couples who don't have that level of comfort, where there is suspicion or whatever, that that kind of stuff can be very much, can like spark a big fight between the couple or something. It's not going to cause any problems here.
But, you know, if there were vulnerability, if there were a crack there of some sort, that's the sort of comment that can definitely cause drama between individuals in a couple. Which doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't say it, but in this instance, it's just you revealing stuff about you, not providing information about the circumstance. I love it when my girl's being ogled at. It means I've got the goods and they don't. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I don't. It wouldn't offend me if I caught somebody when I catch somebody looking at Rachel, but I don't. I'd rather she more or less be dressed a little more modestly. Like ogling mostly occurs because of revealing clothes more than revealing clothes plus fit, I guess, but more than just the woman herself. It's about how much flesh is on display, you know?
Yeah, I can't really say that I'm much of a fleshy showing girl.
You know, the way you acted when you'd smoke cigs was weirdly quite entertaining, like a stockbroker vibe. I still smoke cigs. I never stopped smoking cigs. Well, I mean, a long time ago I stopped smoking cigs, but then I started again, don't worry. But there's also a big difference between somebody checking out your girlfriend because she's attractive and in some sort of reflexive fashion, and somebody trying to come up and talk to your girlfriend even though you're right there or something is very much saying, here, let me be brazen in my disrespect, you know? You gotta read the situation. This kind of things are situational.
Yes, because, okay, one time I was in New York City and me and the ISTP were at, a, like, nut stand. They have roasted nuts. And that sounds so weird. But the older gentleman said, he was like, "Oh, is this your girlfriend? She's beautiful." And like he got all upset, and I was like, whoa, like that, like.
Who got upset at whom about that?
The ISTP got upset with the roasted nut guy.
Because he said you were beautiful?
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
Right?
You just go, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I had put my time into my makeup that day, so it was nice to get a compliment. My God.
I mean, it's like, you know, there's a classy way to do it, which is this. You go, thank you. If it persists, you go, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
And then if
exactly.
it still persists, then maybe you get mad.
Then you can go and get into his face and be like, hey, man.
And even then, it's like there's a better way to deal with it. But
There is.
my dad had to deal with my grandpa stealing his girls.
What?
That's awful.
That is awful.
I don't think my dad has got enough game to take Rachel away. I don't think so.
I don't mean to laugh, but it is pretty funny.
I'm sure he's got a lot of game for an 83-year-old.
Yeah,
For an
your dad has a
83-year-old,
lot of
he's got a
game.
lot of game, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm not sure his gun is fully functional anymore anyway. So people do try to disrespect in various ways, and it's also the case that sometimes somebody's not trying to be disrespectful, is trying to be friendly, and they don't have a good grasp of how to execute a given thing. So you got to read the situation carefully. You got to read the person as well as the situation, as well as what's being said and other things. I mean, it's
there's a very like two-dimensional version of it occurs here in the live chat. I can tell. I allow yeah, and then after that, okay, that's enough. You're getting pervy about my girlfriend, and then I ban him or whatever. I mean, the thing is, why is there a comment on the condition of someone else's gun kind of makes you think? Well, I just would say that the likelihood of him engaging in intimacy and under those conditions is lower. Huh. Well, I mean, it's kind of like there are very few situations where it's socially acceptable for one dude to openly pursue somebody who's in a relationship in front of the person that they're in the relationship with. By and large, that just isn't going to play with anybody nearby. They have to kind of be alone with the two of you. If a girl is bisexual, how can you tell between a friendly female friend or a chick hitting on her? You can't. I agree with Piss Pistoverson. My first wife definitely liked women too, and I never felt really threatened by that at all. It's like, well, girls who are heterosexual very well might sleep in the same bed if they are, say one of them is house sitting and she's like, I'm really scared to be here overnight. It's kind of not a nice neighborhood. Can you come sleep over with me, Mary? And Mary goes over there. They might very well sleep in the same bed and it'd be totally okay, like not sexual at all. On the other hand, if you like my first wife, they go sleep in the bed and maybe it is sexual, right? To me at the time, it just seemed like, well, I'm not threatened by chicks anyway. So like chicks do weird things to each other all the time. They're always like, can you reach up in my butthole and see if my meow's okay? It's like normal behavior for chicks. So I just think whatever. It's just chicks being chicks. There's no threat to me as long as it doesn't have a penis. But I wouldn't feel that way today about Rachel. I wouldn't want her to be having any kind of intimate relationship with anybody. The thing is, I didn't like my first wife. I genuinely, I think the best word for it is I disliked her. I disliked her from the outset. You gotta be really bipolar to think that that's not a red flag, but I was just happy she was not bugging me, not around, basically. And so I just and operating under this false frame of reference that said once people get married, cheating doesn't really happen. That's just in the movies. Schmitty says, I'm 24. Is getting in a relationship with someone with children a bad idea? Of course, it's context dependent, but on average. Well, I mean, it depends how serious you are about the person, really. So, the thing being, before you get into that, you better be pretty sure you're serious, because there's a decent chance the one or more of the kids will get attached to you, or like you a lot. So unless you're pretty sure you're gonna stay for a long time, if you have doubts, I do everybody the service of not creating bonds that you're then gonna have to break. Because here's the deal: fathers and mothers split up, and the father remains in the kid's life. The mother's new boyfriends don't. So it's like once you become ex-boyfriend, your access to the kids is done. No matter how much you like them or how much of a bond started to form between you and them, and whatever, either just as an adult male figure in their lives, or more specifically, like maybe you had started coaching them on baseball or something, and they're starting to get good, and it was really, you were excited about that or whatever. It could be any of those things. The point is, you don't want to create any of that unless you're sure you're going to fall through on it, because that causes more damage than whatever good it caused while you were there to when it ends. That's my take on that.
I ditto.
Men Like God says, children are my third rail, complete no-go.
Complete.
What's interesting, Men Like Gods, is that the third rail is actually what makes everything go. Think about it. Think about it. Today, Eric blew my mind. This is a conversation Men Like Gods has with his girlfriend later. Today, host Eric blew my mind. He pointed out that what I thought was a no-go could be interpreted through a different frame of reference as the single source of all go. And I was like, whoa, that applies to everything. Then I realized, no, it only applies to some things. Boy, that host Eric's always blowing my mind. What's been up with your mind lately? Men Like Gods, says Juliana, his girlfriend. Host Eric's been blowing the fuck out of it, day in and day out. I'm sorry, I'm never going to be the same, but you try getting your mind blown that often.
Which mind are we talking about?
I mean, let's put it this way, girly, says Men Like Gods to his girlfriend Juliana. Host Eric blows my mind more than you blow my dick. And she's like, that's a fuck ton. And he's like, yeah, you better step up your game. You better step up that game, or, host Eric's going to be my new bitch. Camptown races, sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown races 2 miles long, oh the doo-dah day, oh the doo-dah day, oh the doo-dah day. Bet my money on the bobtail nag, somebody bet on the bay. Camptown races, sing my song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown races 3 miles long, oh the doo-dah day, oh the doo-dah day, oh the doo-dah day. I bet my money on the bobtail nag, somebody bet on the
I
bay.
just wait for the drum to come.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Aw, thank you, Ike.
Ike, you are a hero to the people. May I sing your praises. All praises due. Who knew the advantages of singing Camptown races would be so disproportionate to the effort put into it? But Camptown races have, just as Brian Wilson says regarding shortening bread, so too is it with Camptown races. People just can't get enough of it. I bet everybody here is going to, later on today, sing Camptown races to themselves. Next live stream, I'd like to have a show of hands of how many people, between now and the next live stream, saying Camptown races in their head. I'm going to sing it one more time to make sure it really sticks, okay? Camptown races, sing this song, doo-dah, doo-dah. Camptown races 4 miles long. Oh, the doo-dah day. Oh, the doo-dah day. Oh, the doo-dah day. I bet my money on the bobtailed nag. Somebody bet on the bay. Yeah.
That's what they should play at hockey games. You know, in the middle to get people riled up.
They really should. They should play it first, start at a very slow speed, and then gradually speed it up. So at the end, it's like at 300 beats per minute. You know, it's like. Everyone's trying to sing along as fast as they can. And here we have the traditional, between the second and third period of a hockey game, rendition of speed up sing along Camptown races. No, yes, we are not bullies to Mrs. Shocked. That's the thing.
No, we aren't. That is what.
First of all, stop being so patriarchal. She prefers to be called Ms. MZ period. She doesn't want you to know whether she's a Miss or not. She's Ms. Michelle Shocked. I speculate. I don't know this for sure. No, we are invitees. We would like to invite her to engage in actual civil discourse. This is not unlike every other encounter she's had with social media, I'm sure. This is actually not a lynch mob. We are not here to shit on Michelle Shocked, and we are not here to reduce her to a non-human.
I have a question.
Yes?
What if because of her function stack, she's unable to actually, like, hear what you're saying?
Well, I mean, even if she doesn't agree with my words or anything, she should be able to note that I genuinely mean her no ill.
That's the most important part.
And that while I don't agree with her stance on things, and while I don't appreciate her defamatory comments, I don't have anything against the woman inherently. Like, I liked her music back in the day, and most of all, I think that it's bullshit that she was, quote unquote, canceled in general, apparently because of some political rant she gave at a show. Do I think it's appropriate for her to give some sort of political rant at a show? No. Do I think that it matters what the content of that rant was? No. Do I think that people who express purported, ideologies that could be labeled as hateful and or reprehensible, do I think they ought to be ostracized from society or have their other accomplishments in life disavowed and invalidated? No, I definitely don't. That's not helpful at all. To the extent that people have divergent opinions that are strongly divergent, the only way to meaningfully address the issue is to incorporate them into the conversation. You can't exclude them. Who needs family and friends when Host Eric's live streaming every day? Yeah. Who needs them? They're too expensive anyway, right? But last time I went to the family and friends store, do you know that newborn babies are running like 30 grand now? They get cheaper as they get older, except for some reason, teenage girls are like $100,000. I don't know. Especially this, and what's weird, normally the biological relatives are more expensive, but it's the steps that are the most expensive, like stepsister, stepdaughter, or something. 16-year-old girls, they're really expensive. Anyway, I don't know why. I asked one time in the store, why are those so expensive? And the salesman kind of rolled his eyes at me. I was like, what, you don't get it? What's going on?
I'm correcting people's batting stance.
You're correcting people's batting stance. You gotta step into it.
Step into it.
Gotta keep your eye on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
As one eye on the ball. The other eye should be where? On the prize. Okay? You gotta swing through the pitch. And you also have to
swing through.
Swing through.
I couldn't quite hear you.
You also need to step into it. You got to step into it, swing through it, keep your eye on the ball, keep your eye on the prize, call your shots, and and trot your trots. That's the old saying.
You know, if you have a good stance, right, you could really, like, knock one.
You can get more money from their individual parts.
I always forget to follow through.
Well, they make you fill out a questionnaire that promises you're going to keep and raise the family or friend as family or friend accordingly, and that you are not going to sell them to the black market for organs. And, you know, you have to sign under penalty of perjury. Just like, apparently, I have to sign to get in to see my mother at the nursing home, this questionnaire in which I affirm that I have not violated at any point in the last 6 months the social distancing protocols. So, like, I say, yeah, I've not done that. I've not violated them. But, I mean, anybody who interprets that literally, everybody's violated them. Everybody's come within 6 feet of somebody in public in the last 6 months. There's not a single person in America who hasn't come within 6 feet of somebody in public. I mean, it wouldn't work because anybody could see the whole video, right? There's no way to frame me as whatever in any meaningful sense, because when you look at the context of things, you realize, oh, not only am I not bad the way that this person is saying, I'm good or better than the standard by a substantial margin, you know? Anywho, I am glad that June is Rainbow Pride Month, because I have long thought of all atmospheric events, the arrival and appearance of a rainbow is one that we should be proud of, even though we're not responsible for it. Nevertheless, as the resident sentient beings of Earth, if anybody gets to have pride for it, it should be us. So I'm proud of rainbows. I hope you're proud of rainbows. I hope we're all learning this month that June is a month in which when we see rainbows, our hearts should beam with pride. If there's the only thing I love more than a rainbow, double rainbow.
Nice.
And of course, is one level better than that. There's also the unbelievably remarkable triple rainbow.
Wow. Triple rainbow.
Last year, the number of girls being named Karen dropped by 47%. I can see why. That's got a really bad association with it now. Yes, the rainbow originally symbolized that you're a painter. So, like in the Middle Ages, if you had a rainbow over your door, it showed you had access to different color paints, and that you were willing to do profile painting and stuff for rich people. Prior to that, the rainbow represented the warrior guilds of the people of old Celtic Ireland, who would tie a rainbow-colored sash around the hilts of their swords, and for whom rainbow meant death to my enemy is assured. The rainbow has meant many things over time, but mostly now it just means rainbow. When I talk about how much I love rainbows, it's just because I really like rainbows. Well, yeah, there's the home run rainbow. That's true. You get your rainbow, your double rainbow, your triple rainbow. You get your home run rainbow. And if you already had the first 3 rainbows before your home run rainbow occurs, that's called a Grand Slam rainbow.
Whoa.
If you get one rainbow that splits into 2 halfway, that's called a ground rule double rainbow.
You're my double rainbow.
Thanks, darling.
You're welcome.
You know, there's a brand of ice cream called Double Rainbow. Or
Really?
used to be. Maybe it's out of business now, I don't know. Anybody heard of Double Rainbow ice cream? After the flood, God's covenant with Noah and humanity. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. I'm sorry I drowned everything and everybody. Look, to make it up to you, I'm going to show you something really, really pretty. You want to see it? Come on, take a look. Look at this shit right here. What do we call that? What? Rainbow. Ooh, yeah, motherfuckers. You ain't never seen nothing like this before. Look at these colors. You got your orange. You got your green, your blue, your purple, your yellow. How could you not be satisfied? But all of my friends and family are dead. Quit your whining and look at the rainbow. I'm sorry. Gods make mistakes. I shouldn't have drowned you all. I promise I won't do it again. Well, you promised you wouldn't do it before you did in the first place. At Sodom and Gomorrah. You know what those fuckers were doing? In the wrong hole. That's like my rendition there is straight up biblical. So it may sound odd to some modern ears, but that's how it happened, literally. That's what God says. It's His word. The word of God Himself describing events was just rendered by me there, playing out the characters. Wife? What, Noah? Just come along. But there's no point in arguing. Look, probably He's not going to drown us. Yes, we can probably rely on the fact that since we're the last couple of people, He's kind of got to keep us around. But remember, we're talking about a guy who drowned the whole world because some people were butt fucking. We can't rely on him to be a rational actor. Okay, honey? So just wipe the tears and just do what He says and proceed forward until we get to the New Testament. That's Noah and Noah's wife. Noah's a pragmatist. Noah's wife's a TI user. She's a little frustrated by the unfairness of the whole thing and her inability to get justice, and even to voice her legitimate outrage in those terms. Basically, God's requiring a single frame of reference. Noah's happily obliging and requiring it of his wife. And his wife's just like, why? I guess it's better than being drowned. It's basically what she keeps saying to herself. Well, I guess it's better than being drowned. You get off the boat, tigers. You too. You better not maul me. The fuck? I'm Noah's wife, bitch. Get off the boat.
Noah's wife, bitch. Get off the boat.
Yeah, you think you got shit to complain about. Go run free.
I like your new Bible.
The Bible as it actually happened is what it's called.
The Bible as it actually happened.
DNA corruption was going on. That's why he flooded the earth. And Noah and his family were the last actual humans, so that all of the other people had demon blood in them. Boy, isn't that a convenient excuse? So, God, listen, I don't mean to be picky. I'm not like my wife. She keeps hounding me to ask you, why did you drown everybody? Wasn't it just, the sodomites that were doing the eating? And God goes, well, I mean, demon blood. The truth is, Noah's wife, Noah's kids, or whatever, you are the last true humans, and the rest of them had been infested with demon blood, and I had to drown them all.
Oh.
But all the animals too? Yeah, the demons got all the animals too, except for these ones. These two didn't get it, though. So wait, the demons got everybody with demon blood except for two of everything? Or did they do that on purpose? Or, oh, no, I just stepped in at the last minute and I grabbed the last two. Whew, close, nick of time. Fortunately, omniscience helps in this instance. I could see when the last possible moment. Well, couldn't you have saved more then? Your boat wasn't big enough. You needed to build a bigger boat. So it's my fault that everything's dead? Yeah. That's what I tell my wife? Yes, that was her fault too. It's her fault. She didn't pressure you hard enough to big a builder boat. That doesn't even make any sense. Build a bigger boat. You seem to be stumbling over your words, God. Are you sure you're being completely honest with me here? Are you going to pretend I didn't hear that? Now you just go tell your wife, I don't want to hear about this again. Hurry up and have some more kids. Let's repopulate this fucker. Pretend this shit never happened. Look at the rainbow. Every time you think, hey, I'm pissed about this, you look at that soothing fucking rainbow and you go, well, at least I got a rainbow out of it. Remember, all your ancestors for all time are going to get to enjoy that. It's very colorful. It's the most colorful thing I can come up with.
It's the most colorful thing I can come up with.
All right. Be a good play, right?
It really would be a good play. I would totally see that.
The Noah Ark story as it actually happened. And really, it's like God's just this dick New Yorker ESFP impulsive person. He feels really bad about it, but he can't admit that he did anything wrong because his ego gets bruised.
Oh my gosh, so...
Before he goes out to talk to the people, he stands in front of the mirror and goes, just remember, you're God. You are God. You are God. Let's go. No shit this time from these people. But then he's always scrambling back, trying to defend himself. You don't know me. You don't know what it's like being God.
It's best to come back.
He doesn't chill out until he has an intelligent son. He's got like a... I think maybe... You know what? Maybe Jesus is an INTP. Because what did he really do?
He didn't.
He quit being a carpenter because it was too hard, right?
Yeah.
He quit being a carpenter because it's like, I just
That's
cannot keep getting up
bad.
this early. I just can't keep getting up this early. And I stayed up so late last night, flipping through the pages of primitive rock carving internet and, rock carvingpedia. Going down the wormhole of Gnostic teachings. I just can't do this manual labor shit anymore. But then he just started wandering around saying, hey, I think we've got a lot of this God stuff wrong. The way we have it currently is like this. It doesn't make any sense. If it's going to be consistent, it needs to be kind of like a negative right thing. So, like thou shalt not steal, rooted in the individual. Can you imagine him being an INTP, walking around like that, and then, FE pressure is like, well, fuck, I guess I better wash this person's feet because everyone's looking at me and I'm supposed to do something. I don't know what to do, so there's a bucket, I'll wash their feet. And he's really just being incredibly awkward, and people are interpreting it as some sort of great statement on the world or whatever.
Who's the conflictor for INTP?
Conflictor for INTP would be ISFP. Wait, no, it would be ESFP.
Oh, ESFP? A bunch of ESFP Romans are the ones who fucking take him and put him on the cross. You know it!
And it's not so much that he was in favor of forgiveness as he was against taking any action for retribution or justice purposes.
God,
And so in order for it to be logically consistent, he advocated that it was occurring under a frame where forgiveness had primacy. That way he wouldn't contradict himself and be accused of hypocrisy. Doesn't that make sense?
yes!
Yeah, it makes good sense. What do I think about Lewis's trimella regarding Jesus? I don't know. Damn, no prophets is the best argument I've heard yet against introverted intuition. Hey, not all prophecy comes from introverted intuition, okay? I make some predictions and stuff too. Mine's extroverted intuition. Like, I prophesize that everybody should listen to me. That's not a prophecy, Eric. That's a prescriptive statement. No, it's normative. She's saying they have a moral obligation to listen to you? Yeah. You know better than that, Eric. People do not have a moral obligation to listen to you. They don't? No. Okay. Men like gods, I would typically deem an expression such as egg-shaped penis self-explanatory. I'm curious that you are asking for an explanation about what that means. Because it would suggest that to visualize the penis, one visualizes the shape of an egg, presumably a chicken egg, in its oval fashion, that it's either pointy at the bottom and round at the top, or upside down, pointy at the top, right side up, pointy at the top, round at the bottom. How pointy is your loin egg is an old Irish jig that was popular because I guess egg-shaped genitals are common amongst the Irish people. Little known facts shared with the world today. Little known facts. Just as pancake-shaped penises are common among the French. That's why they like crepes so much. True story.
True story.
Mm-hmm. For the people of Lithuania, their penises are shaped like a waffle cone. They've got a little grid of push marks on it, and concave, and hollow in the middle. It's kind of like a megaphone. That's why they always say, "Put your ear to a Lithuanian man. The sound of the sea isn't far away." That's an old saying that is common in Eastern Europe that we don't really hear very often here in the West, but it refers to the conical shaped penis of the average Lithuanian. You know, the penises that one might see in a pornography film, for example, for every penis that's shaped like that, in the sort of stereotypical penis shape, they have to reject at least 3 or 4 applicants who come in with either pyramidical penises, cube penis, or, for example, the 90-degree turn penis that goes like this. They just have to reject those people because that's not what they're looking for in film.
That's not what they're looking for.
No, that's not what they're looking for. Just
Why
like they tend to.
so specific?
Well, it's because pornography is not yet into the diversity time. So where now you see people of different body shapes and types on TV because there's been a proactive attempt to be more inclusive in terms of the faces you see on TV. That movement hasn't occurred yet in pornography. So the odd-shaped penises, which are really the majority in total, they're excluded. And I obviously am a little bit butthurt about it because my penis goes like this, this, which makes it a very unusual shape, but, you know, to each their own. And, no, I've never looked at the game. The idea, the name of it sounds horrible.
I can't.
Exploding kittens. I mean, it's not the sort of thing I'd actually like to see in real life, but that doesn't necessarily mean it wouldn't be fun to play, because I could see myself playing Grand Theft Auto, but I could never see myself actually engaging in Grand Theft Auto-esque behaviors in real life. Seal Ripper, I don't like your disinformation.
What the heck is going on?
There's no reason to believe that any needle prick is corrupting people's DNA. The verb corrupt is a very loaded verb and also very vague in its meaning, especially as you're using it. Being made to ejaculate by a demon's DNA. That does sound interesting.
Is that that could be a new addition to the Bible.
It definitely sounds like it could be in an anime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to play a song or two here and then wrap this up. Here comes my dad, so maybe I'll wrap it up real quick. Yeah, come on in. How's it going?
Did anybody get that skin cream for Jane?
Yeah, we got it.
Yes, I left it inside.
Okay, well, we'll take it up tomorrow, and then they can just put it in her wheelchair when she takes it back.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All right, thanks. Okay, so I'm going to play a couple songs and then wrap this up. Good thing we got that, huh?
Yep.
That's some good SE follow through on our part.
Yes, it was a team effort.
Well, I mean, there's the official rules, then there's my authentic disapproval of misinformation. You're making claims you can't substantiate. And I don't want people to think that that's true. It's in tune enough, right? How in tune do you expect it to be? All the way in tune? Oh, come on now. Well, this guitar doesn't exactly go into perfect tune, so... Okay, I'm going to play a couple different songs than I played the last couple times. I'm going to start with this song. So, I'm going to put this at 75%. And I'm going to put the view on full page. Full screen. And then I'm going to meow like meow. And meow like meow. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a window capture. And I'm going to put it right here. Then I'll move it over here. Like so. And make it a little bit bigger. Let me crop that a bit. This app is so good. It's really crazy. The way that it lets you crop these windows here is super useful. It's like, wow, OBS, you're great. You're my friend. I like you. Can we be friends forever, OBS? And it's free too.
Wow, that's so cool.
It's the freeware one, you know?
Yeah.
Alright. Here we go. We are ready to rock and roll. Here we go. We are ready to rock and roll. If you want to rock and roll, what do you think you should do? Get ready to go, go, go. That's the thing that you should do. Rock and roll. Go, go, go. Here we go. Time to rock and roll. Santa Ana's from the east are blowing, driving on this mountain fire. Grant and Lana had best be going, they had cut it down to the wire. Everywhere apocalypse hung heavy, and the truck was piling with ash. Lana got the dogs in the Chevy, and Grant counted out their petty cash. If times are ending, then time is bending. Flames rain down from the sky, while the dogs lock up. Grant exhausted, Lana stays awake to cry. I can't look at the levels while I'm playing. I didn't know what was just happening there. I was trying to see if I was peaking, you know. 120 out, but Labor Day, and that means cooking meat outdoors. Guy got distracted and fire got away. From Bradford to Arcadia, they curse his name. Fire chased them destined down the incline until they reached the foothills below. They found a room cheap for the night online. At least now they had someplace to go. Tomorrow they'd evaluate their options now that their life had burned away. Alana's sister has a place in Laughlin. Wasn't really any more to say. If times are ending, then time is bending. Flames rain down from the sky, while the dogs knock out with Grant exhausted. Lana stays awake to cry, while the dogs knock out with Grant exhausted. Lana stays awake to cry. That's why she stays awake, for the purpose of crying. A wonderful, a wonderful. Song 2. Song 2, what do you do? 3 and 4, sing some more. Song 5, what do you think? 3 and 4, sing it a dink. There we go. Well, Sammy has a story that need be told, and this is a song for an open road, and such a thing must always do its job. He married up Jeb, turned 19, 4 years in, 3 kids, weary now and questioning the path. Agency out, faces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. Comfort is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. Doug at 20 thought bourbon fun, and likewise Doug at 21, and so forth well up into middle age. Well, once that seemed to set him free became his whole identity. Now Doug's about another drunken rage. Agency out, faces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression. Offer you incentives, but they haven't got a thing that's fun. Everybody's panicked about the kids. Lock them up with extra Dexedrine. Mathematics to produce success, or impose more unjust duress. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always run. without consent. It's really just oppression by parasites surviving on their wages earned by lying. Well, they fear dying. Yeah, they feed upon the futures of the young. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was better than getting poo for Christmas.
I'd say.
And that's where I like to set the bar. So that way I can usually win. "30,000 days, too many expectations, not even worth a damn. 30,000 nights to sleep up the intoxication, otherwise you won't escape the plan. I wasted half my days trying on others' ways. Who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody knows the key? 'Cause I'm tired of doing it wrong. Want direction and have all along. Wait until I know. Or is that just hesitation? Clarity's no good once your chance is gone. What I need to show is a toe below my station. I'm tired of doing it wrong. I've wasted half my days trying on others' ways. Who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody who knows the key? 'Cause I think I'm doing it wrong. 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. Yes, I think I'm doing this wrong. Doing it wrong. Thank you, beautiful.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your ongoing support.
I love to support you. You're my friend.
Let's give a try to this one. Too much noise in the data stream. Loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. It's small there. I gotta look at it on the actual document. It's too small in that picture. I can't see it very clearly. So here, what I will do is make it bigger. Like meow. And go this way. There. Alright. Try this again. Too much noise in the data stream. Loud enough to disrupt everybody's dreams. Frustration is mean. Mistakes are made until it seems everybody's throwing shade. I won't be another casualty of well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. It's not the sort of thing that one can borrow. No one willing still to lend lately. Your uncertainty's implicit, just like an unexpected visit from a bunch of men all dressed in blue suits. I won't be another casualty of other people's well-intentioned rules. I used to think that some tomorrow there'd be time for yesterday. Well, you know, it's improving bit by bit, that one. Gerald has a thought. I'm going to play that one, but I'll play it from memory. So I don't really need to look at this, but here it is anyway. And a piggity pow right to here. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get the margarine tater tots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business. Thinking now about what's it called Christmas when they hire his firm to change that name. You know what I'm gonna do for this song? I think I feel like doing it, so I'm gonna do it. I'm going to put the camera like this. So I can primarily get the guitar. I mean, I still only got the bottom part of the guitar. It's still not really low enough. Make it go lower. How about that? Alright, so for this song, I'm going to play it like this. Sit back, I guess, a bit here. Put my leg up a bit. Alright. Like this. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot. Get the margarine tater tots. I'm going to do more than that, in fact. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make myself as big as the sun. That's right. And I'm going to turn off this slideshow. Right here. And I'm going to put this down here. I'm just going to get rid of this one for right now. I'm not going to have the lyrics up, I guess. And that one is this, yeah, like so. And I will still keep this here, though. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should meow this too. Meow this too, briefly. Alright, now... There. Perfect. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get the margarines, tater tots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business. Thinking now about what he'll call Christmas when they hire his firm to change that name. Gerald always thought that there'd be chance enough to return to the work left rough. He'd get back to it eventually, but his visions piled up and his plans would interrupt all the work that started off so hopefully. And now his mind is back on his business, thinking change in fact list to listless. Oh, how all the people will shout his name. And Gerald knows he understands ever more clearly now. He won't provide explanation regarding the why or the how. He'll see you and know you from inside your heart. Exciting, delighting, Gerald plays his part. And Gerald still knew there's too much to do, and he had dropped time in the underview. Too much to rebut, so where now and what? Too much time spent nitpicking the skew with you. Gerald has a thought. Gerald has a lot. Gerald has a plot to get the margarine's tasty spots. He's got a good idea for a name-changing business. Thinking now about what he'll call Christmas when they hire his firm to change that name. Gerald has a thought. Thank you, darling. One of the many wonderful things that OBS lets you do is I could record that as a separate video while I'm streaming. And so I have that segmented out as a separate video. And I think that's pretty cool. I will put back up here. Meow. Yes, meow. And, oh, not necessarily. Put back up here. Meow. There we go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I was trying to get a good take of it, you know. Maybe I will attempt again to do the same with the next one. Let's find out what the next one is. The next one on my list is called Jesus People. I'll give this one a shot. It's in 3. It's one of my rare songs that's in 3. It's a little bit hard for me to sing because it's a little bit out of my range, kind of, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway and hope to do it well. All right. So, if Jesus were people but absent of sin, he must then have struggled with regular men and women, of course, when they too were present. Disciples all airily why in the lesson. I'm gonna start over. If Jesus were people but absent of sin, he must then have struggled with regular men and women, of course, when they two were present, disciples all warily eyeing the lesson. If Jesus were people, they'd know as they think, and everyone's work would be true. And feelings once spoken would sit where they sink, and we'd all know just what to do. But people aren't Jesus once they're betrayed. The easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naivete is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Alright, I'm going to play only that much of that song because it's a little bit strainy on my voice.
You sounded good.
Thanks. I'm going to play this one instead. What's the matter with Chad? Is he terribly bad? Is he very like Dan, who's a terrible man? Is he sort of like Jill, who can't pay her bill? Or rather like Jack, too stuck on the facts? What's the matter with Sue? Will she know what to do if they bring attitude? Will she show ingenuity? She talks about you whenever we go walking. What's the matter with Bryn? She's been living in sin. She's been hanging with Jim. He's looking terribly thin. What's the deal with Frank? Stealing fish from my tank. He's colluding with Lou and they're talking to you. What's wrong with the ladies? What's the matter with men? From the feelings of Katie to the coldness of Sven. They talk about you whenever we go walking. Paths that lead to lesser days. Spill still at the overwatered past. And whoever's left, that's still okay. Just tie the sails to the mast. Are you angry at Kent or at Neville again? Don't bother with Kev, he's practically dead. Just focus on Bert, he's medium hurt. What's the quantity for Liz? Did she fail a quiz? What's the deal with Drew? Will she know what to do if they bring attitude? Will she show ingenuity? They talk about you whenever we go walking. Paths that lead to lesser days. Spill still at the overwatered past. And whoever's left, that's still okay. Just tie the sails to the mast. 'Cause each of us has much and gravely sinned. Throw up the hands, stiffen the chin. Catastrophe looms heavy overhead again. Times gone will never be again. Thank you. Not too bad a rendition overall, I guess. Not great, but okay. Pretty good. Pretty solid. Let's try this one here. Satchel Helpful Goods. The kind of song that makes you say, hey, that's a nice song. Let me do the following. Piao. I'm going to come back over to here. Like this. And go like this. Oh poop, I say. Oh poop. There we go.
Actually, let me do it like this instead. Oh, poop. There, that's better. Now you should be able to see everything pretty much. Including your own mother's face. Okay. Here we go. I can't see my fingers. That's the problem with putting it over there. I had to put it over here instead. That's a better place to put it. No. Window capture 3. Pew. Pew. Okay. Here we go. Every life lived reaches a time when the road splits in two. There are times, dark times, times of despair, times when it's hard to feel good. That's when I look for my sack full of solvency and that satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Satchel of helpful goods. Every life lived reaches a time when the road turns an end. When I'm there, will there be anybody else around? Will I travel all alone? That's when I'll look for my sack full of solvency and a satchel filled up with on. And that satchel of nothing but bone. Satchel of helpful goods. 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 That was a good rendition of that one. That one I pulled off pretty smooth. As smooth as smooth whiskey. Try this one. Next, we'll see if any of these come out particularly worth anything, you know. Oh, he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate claiming to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him, going to the gym to make yourself good enough again. So he came here with her. And what's the problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate claiming to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him, going to the gym to make yourself good enough again. Be done with him. Oh, foot's going to sleep. Let's try playing like this instead. You're living on a time frame I will never know. Alienation and humanity's soul. Imagine you a future after the collapse, returning to the urgency of isolated past. Picturing community free of metaphysics, haunting buffalo, big and red delicious with your knowledge of the seasons and wisdoms of old. Fires blazing in the night to keep away the cold. Hostility is kept at bay by what you think is in the way of life as children of the land and an agave weatherman. Imagining a history that never could have been. You lecture at the college, advancement is a sin. Lamenting disconnection and every corporate act, asserting all your feelings and ignoring all the facts. Hostility is kept at bay by what you think is in the way, by what you think is in the way. Life as children of the land with an agave weatherman. You find modernity just so banal. Wish you had been born any time but now, and your experience won't run afoul of exceptions that you might allow. You visualize nobility sipping on some port, where tribes of peaceful savages in beautiful comport, but few of history's people ever thusly did comfort. 'Cause life was solitary, nasty, brutish, poor, and short. Hostility is kept at bay. Hostility is kept at bay by what you think is in the way. By what you think is in the way of life as children of the land with an agave weatherman. Hostility is kept at bay. Hostility is kept at bay by what you think is in the way. By what you think is in the way of life as children of the land with an agave weatherman. With an agave weatherman. Thank you, thank you. That number was called Agave Weatherman. It's a critique upon I guess, modern idealism and his perspectives on the contemporary world of enterprise and reward as structured. In other words, it's an anti-cap song. You might say it's AT Cap K. AT Cap K, AT Cap K. Play this one. Sometimes, when a man and a woman love each other very much, they scream at each other constantly. This song is about just such a form of quote-unquote love. No good comes from skating on with them whom you'd mistaken for the one. Start over. No good
comes from skating on with them whom you'd mistaken for the one. Habituated defense and indecency self-inflicts eventually once your search is done. Driving in the car last night, we had a massive fight. Each insisting we were right and the other one to blame. So when you pulled that stunt, I screamed something awfully blunt. My words were as wrong as they were dumb, and I burned my share of shame. It's each of our own failings, not us doing the nailing to the wall. We fear so the others sailing off to reset their life and all. You can trust me, I can trust you, though now the trust ourselves much true. The love lies deep between you and me, at least about that we can both agree. Driving in the car last night, we had a nasty fight. Each insisting we were right and the other one to blame. So when you pulled that stunt, I screamed you're a worthless cunt. My words as wrong as they were dumb. I've earned my share of shame. My share of shame. Thank you, darling. I got a couple more songs from them. And do Destruction next.
You don't mind that chewing, do you?
That's fine. The crinkling bag, if you could avoid, is nice, but, you know, if you can't, it's fine. We need to know. We need to see. We need to pen happenings down by I mean to judge a logic to life, divisively alike, and from which we'll rarely budge. People everywhere gather up, enemies outraged at how they missed a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities, ensuing heartache and misery follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck in such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Judy shares now her limits, hoping Julie will too. Jerry shares for 4 minutes. He just can't share things like they do. Judy always thought that she should have bought 2 when she had the chance to buy. Julie soon forgot about should and ought, although she ought recall she'll die. People everywhere gather up, enemies outraged at how they missed a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities, ensuing heartache and misery follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck in such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Boom. It's tricky to sing. A little out of my range. And some of the phrasings require me to breathe at exactly the right time or I'm going to mess it up. But, you know, that's life in the big city. So they say. Life in the big city.
It's the only kind of life for me. A sailor's life, the only life for me. Okay. Next up, we got about 3 songs left, maybe 4 if I include a cover. Let's do this one first. Just brooding here won't do any good, but brooding's more and more my style. I seek the cheery ways of standing where we stood, 'cause I've been stuck here a while. That's despite a natural selfishness that makes it easy to have fun. But flutters in the gut become a fist as all my visions come undone. I tried to stream, distract, and dream the afternoon away, but heavy new realities bear down on every day, and for a bit I am out of it. For reasons still unsaid, still I need it out of me. What's inside my head? It seems like everybody's so sensitive and ready to just get mad. I seek the civil ways of living like a kid, 'cause who wants to be the dad? Have we lost our sense of scope and scale? Our capacity to laugh? The sense to know when not to wail, and how to dip the golden calf. I tried to stream, distract, and dream the afternoon away, but heavy new realities bear down on every day, and for a bit I am out of it. For reasons still unsaid, still I need it out of me. What's inside my head? And so I'm sad, sad for me, sad for her unhappily, and what you call sorrow I call home. Blues that sink clear down to the bone, down to the bone. I'm sad, so sad for me, sad for her unhappily, unhappily. You call sorrow, I call home. Blues that sink clear down to the bone. Thank you, thank you. Okay, next we've got Pucker Turd Lemon Squeeze. It's a wonderful, 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 wonderful song that I know we're all going to enjoy. So be prepared for enjoyment and other kinds of pleasure. Here we go. Oh, well, he's Pucker Tart Lemon Squeeze. He's the friendliest guy that you will see. Yes, he wants to be your friend, but he comes from around the bend, and it'll be a while till he sees you again. He's Pucker Tart Lemon Squeeze. He's a friend to you and me. He's international, the life's favorite go-to right-hand guy. He's international like him, and he is also busy like his friend, the beaver bee. Busiest creature, busy as a bee, busy as a beaver, and so much busier than Pucker Tart Lemon Squeeze. Well, he's Pucker Tart Lemon Squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-ba-ba-ba-doo-da. Pucker Tart Lemon Squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-day. Yes, he's Pucker Tart Lemon Squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-da-ba-ba-doo-da. Pucker Tart Lemon Squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-day. And if you go to visit him for starts, remember to bring something clever or tart. He's not a fan of sugary treats because he's sugar tart and not Pucker sweet. Well, he's Pucker. I fucked that song up. I gotta take it from the top. I want to get a good take of it. Okay. Fucked it up from the get-go. Oh, well, he's pucker tart, lemon squeeze, the friendliest guy that you will see. Yes, he wants to be your friend, but he comes from around the bend, and it will be a while till he sees you again. Pucker tart, lemon squeeze, he's a friend to you and me. He's international delight's favorite go-to right-hand guy. He's international like him, and he is also busy like his friend, the beaver bee. Busiest creature, busy as a bee, busy as a beaver, and so much busier than Pucker Tart's lemon squeeze. Well, he's Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-ba-ba-ba-doo-da. Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-day. Yes, he's Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-ba-ba-ba-doo-da. Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-day. And if you go to visit him for starts, remember to bring something sour or tart. He's not a fan of sugary treats because he's Pucker Tart, not Pucker Sweet. Well, he's Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, the friendliest guy that you will see. Yes, he wants to be your friend, but he comes from around the bend, so it will be a while till he sees you again. Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, he's a friend to you and me. He's international delight's favorite go-to right-hand guy. He's international like him, and he's also busy like his friend, the beaver bee. Busiest creature, busy as a bee, busy as a beaver, and so much busier than Pucker Tart's lemon squeeze. Well, he's Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-ba-ba-ba-doo-da. Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-day. Well, he's Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-ba-ba-ba-doo-da. Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, shabba-doo-ba-day. That was pretty good.
I messed it up by clapping.
No, I was done. I come from a country far across the sea where all of the people are alright. That's why the people are always calling me the international delight. I may not have a satchel, but then again I might, and I'm unfailingly polite. That's why all the people, when they have me in their sights, say there's the international delight. Oh, it's his friend Pucker Tart, lemon squeeze, and his friend too, the beaver bee, and whimsy Muriel brings her contingent too. They and all their friends will do it all for you. I'm rarely irrational, there's no reason for fright, though I am often in flight. That's why all people, when they look up at a kite, say there's the international delight. The international may not have a satchel, though he's rarely irrational. He's the international delight. One more song to play. Goes like this. Let me get a sip of coffee first. Put myself in the Western mood. Here we go. Well, some folk call me a rambling man, 'cause I do a lot of thumbing and a kicking cans, but it won't do an answer good to call me names.
My daddy wasn't well, it was true. I wasn't born and raised in no ghetto, just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Well, I don't need no handout living, don't want any part of anything they're giving. I'm proud of mine and I got time to sing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want to get a hit, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. I'm gonna find me a wealthy woman in a line of work that don't take no diploma, cause I ain't got much to lose but life's a game. You might call me a good time fella, but I ain't no black and I ain't no yellow, just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Well, I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they giving. I'm proud of why and I got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want to get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Well, I'm a small town boy, been around a little, and I like guitar and I like the fiddle, cause that's the kind of soul that fan my thing. Blue-eyed Billy feared and ready, I got to work just to be somebody, just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Yeah, I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they're giving. I'm proud of mine, I got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you want to get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Well, I said a few things and I admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Yeah, I said a few things, so I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. Just a white boy looking for a place to do my thing. Thanks, Merle Haggard, for that winning number. Fun to play. Rather explicitly racist in a couple of spots. The point being, just because there's a little bit of racism in a song doesn't make it a bad song. You may disapprove of the message, maybe with good cause, but a song is more than its message. It's an expression of the individual who wrote it, and in this instance, there's no reason to dismiss an incredible part of Merle Haggard that came up with that super rad little song. So that's going to do it for the live streaming today. Thanks a lot for being here for those who stuck around. I do understand that once I start playing the guitar, I'm of interest to only a subset of the viewers who might be interested in typology, for example. So I appreciate those of you who did stick around, and thanks for being here. Don't forget to keep playing too.